Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. We watch movies with you so you don't have to.
Welcome to Cinematography. I'm your host, Roberto Villegas, joined as always by my awesome co-host,
Brant Hughes. My name is that.
It is Brant Hughes.
Yep.
It's amazing that you didn't let me finish and say it.
You know what? We don't have time for that.
No, we don't. We are doing Scott Pilgrim today. We're doing commentary on the awesome movie Scott Pilgrim, specifically spoilers. Specifically the Blu-ray copy. And as we lead into this whole commentary, you guys should see the Universal logo in all its pixel glory. So skip all the other cruft and crap that comes with your Blu-ray copy and hit play.
Yeah, and the total time length is going to be 1 hour, 52 minutes,
correct.
16 seconds.
In fact, Brant, why don't you just count us down? And we are starting. And by the way, I want to comment right now, this is my favorite Universal logo of all time.
It's really good.
Well, it's because the thing is, apparently, the actual commentary, if I remember correctly, was saying this was like temporarily in there. Mm-hmm. Like this whole, like the bit version was like just a temp track.
Yeah.
And it just worked, and they kept it. I was like, that is such a great thing. I
just like to think that you got a bootleg copy of Scott Pilgrim, and it's just really, really low resolution.
No, not this movie. Oh, I think this is, yep. I think that was the first, if I'm not mistaken, that's the first reference to a video game. I think that was the Zelda theme? Zelda song? Sound? I have to remember.
Maybe.
I'll still turn the volume a bit.
So what was your first experience seeing this movie?
So my first experience with seeing this movie was actually at the Alamo Draft House.
Nice.
I had a friend of mine who essentially he came here to Austin, my friend Carlos, and we had previously I forgot what movie we'd saw outside of the Draft House. It wasn't Scott Pilgrim, it was something else. And he had told me, he asked me, so what'd you think of the film? At that point, I'd lived in Austin, gone to the Draft House, things like that. And I go, I can't tell you. I got distracted by everything else around me. People were filling their phones, people were kind of chatting, whatever. And I could not get into the movie proper. And so I said, when you go to the Draft House, you understand. He goes, okay, cool. Well, let's go watch the movie Scott Pilgrim when it comes out. I go, yeah, sure, totally. I'd never heard of Scott Pilgrim. I knew Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright was a great director. Loved Shaun of the Dead and things like that. And so when we went to the film, it was my first time seeing a film, and Jesus, awesome! It was really cool. Like, it was totally awesome, totally badass. Mm-hmm. And then I asked, "What you think of the film?" He goes, "Robert, you're absolutely right. I now understand what you mean about the Draft House and why it's the way to do it." And I told him, "I'm so sorry. I have ruined movies for you forever," because he lived in Laredo, and he can't go to the Draft House.
Yeah, that sucks.
But ultimately, I dug this film. I had not read the comic at all. Like, I was only very like new to the whole concept of it. But I loved it so much because of this, of things like this, of these almost blatant,
Oh man, and this intro is so good.
Oh, God. Music done by Beck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know until later on. But I'm pretty much like Knives. I would be like Knives at this point right here.
Oh, it's so good. Look at how pretty it is.
A little breathalyzer.
I always think that this is like the coolest shot ever.
It is a slick shot, dude. What I love about this entire sequence, first off, this movie is the most punk rock of any movies I've seen. I mean, the joke is always, the hipster thing and whatnot. But what I love about this movie, and what I think love like Scott Pilgrim's like team of cohorts and such, is that they are like the punkest of punk rock and the kind of oddball geeks, even among like the rockers. And I think that's what I dig about them. Like, I dig like that Scott at one point, he's excited he's got the bass line for the Final Fantasy VI, fight music and things like that. Or
right.
I love that bass line comes in because it's such a popular thing. Or he's got the Final Fantasy, I think it's 4 specifically. I know it's 6. It might be 4. But that's one thing I didn't know until kind of going into it, how much video game references there would have been. Because I had no idea going into any of the comics, anything else. I was like, yeah, you know what? I like Edgar Wright. My friends want to go, so why not? And I come to this movie, and I see pretty much a movie that captured everything I cared about when it came to video games. I mean, and a lot of that stuff. And very much so that you didn't need to have that knowledge. But if you had that knowledge, it added tremendously to your experience of the movie.
Sure.
You know? But yeah, of course, Edgar Wright, and based on the comic, Brian Lee O'Malley.
Yeah, I also went into it not having read the comics.
Okay, so you're also the comics. That's always everyone told me was like, oh, you got to read the comics. You didn't read the comics? They're all were talking about how I never did, and I always felt like the asshole, the odd man out.
Yeah, I remember there was a ton of buzz from like the guys over at Slash Film when this was first about to release.
Yeah,
and a lot of people were just like, "This is really cool," and no one's gonna see it.
Nope, because it's like no one knows about it. Everything else. Let's talk about the movie first a little bit. Here's a question: would you ever date a teenager? Let's say how old are you now, Brant?
I'm 21.
All right. Would you date anyone? Let's say that you're about Scott's age in this movie,
more or less. Yeah.
Would you date a 17-year or actually a 17 or 15-year-old? Would you date someone in high school? Let's go with that first.
I don't think so.
Neither would I. I mean, granted, I'm way older than you, and that would be even creepier for me. But,
yeah.
But I love this shot. I'm sorry. I love that it shows everything that's Wallace's and everything that's Scott's. That's one of my favorite shots because it's such a. That shot's almost reminiscent of Fight Club to a certain degree, but I won't go into that.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't really imagine any scenario where that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I can't either. Like there's no way I can see that being actually. It was just Mr. Child your date. But I can't either. Like it was. Obviously that's the point of putting Scott on this sort of note is that that he's this kind of little bit pervy in a weird way.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand because he apparently what was it like he in the comics he used to date like his bandmate or something like that.
I still haven't read the comics.
I have to remember because there's some like oh that's right she used to date her and some of the bullshit like there's and again you get this all in the movie but there's apparently some other weird backstory that I don't know about and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean Scott dated Kim for a little while.
But let's actually talk about the actual movie and the performances specifically of a Culkin here, which is his. I know it's the brother of Macaulay Culkin, but I can't remember.
Right.
I can't remember his actual name.
Yeah, me neither.
But we'll just call him. We'll call him a Culkin because that's what he is.
Sure.
But he did a fucking phenomenal job.
He did really good. He's a super entertaining dude, and every time I see him, I'm like, man, that dude. He makes me happy.
Yeah, no, like he did a fucking like it's one of those weird things. I had no idea going into this film. A lot of the actors. By the way, we got to start playing some DDR. I'm just saying we got to do some DDR. There it is, Pac-Man, Puck-Man. Which actually, this is true.
Yeah, I know. I've told this story to people before. I came off just as impressive as it does for Scott.
Of course, it does. Here's a question: can you name all the ghosts in Pac-Man?
Nope.
Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. For those who have been curious, because that's what I know about Pac-Man. Pac-Man, of course, was made by the company Namco, which I love this. And he just goes, he looks, and he's like, I got no money. See, I wonder if this is what is like. That's what I find so like ridiculous because like he just leeches off this guy as a girl.
Yeah, Scott is such a tool.
It is. Scott is. I mean, but that's a point. Scott will, over the course of the film, do his thing.
Yeah.
But I love these sort of weird references to things like all the hidden stuff because they're such a like they're an indie band and things like that. Clash at the or the Clash at Demonhead. Clash at Demonhead is also another video game reference. It's actually in the title of an NES game. Yeah.
Fun fact for you.
Yeah, actually, O'Malley slips in a lot of video game references without, purposely mentioning them. You have to almost be an expert at that. Like, there's a point where, though it is not the actual sound file, there's a point where you hear KO. It's done in the voice of Street Fighter Alpha. I think it's like Street Fighter Alpha. I forget which one exactly. But it's purposely that one. They just couldn't obviously use the real one, but they did their own like KO, and it has the same inflection as that kind of chaos. And there's so many different kind of ways of doing this.
Damn it, Scott! You would.
Of course, Scott's the guy you hate, and that's what's interesting about the movie is that you open up hating him.
When I first saw this movie, I saw it in theaters. Maybe the week it came out, the weekend it came out.
I think I saw it opening night,
and it was a first date.
Oh, okay. Let's talk.
It was good. It plays really well for a first date. If you have the chance to see this in theaters as a first date, I recommend it.
Did it work out? What's the girl's name? Casey, will you say the girl's name?
I'm not gonna. Whatever.
Let's call the girl Jenny. So, okay, we're gonna talk about this date now because you prompted. Mainly because we're seeing somebody travel through subspace. This is what I love. I love that this scene. Other Scott Wallace's boyfriend, 22. I love this idea. This is my favorite part. Is the idea of him just gaining boyfriends.
Yeah. That's pretty much my life every single day.
Is it?
Yeah. I wake up and I'm like, it's like the day just started. And then I open up the blinds.
And it's bright as hell.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this girl named Jenny. We're calling Jenny because ultimately we're about to be introduced to Ramona, who, I'm going to be honest, at this point in time in the movie, I was like, Scott does not deserve that kind of chick ever.
No, he hasn't earned it.
Not yet, but he will.
That's an amazing transition.
It is. All those movies are amazing transitions.
Yeah. Everything about this movie just makes me so happy.
I know, except, well, there's one thing that makes us both sad.
What?
The fact that this did like shit in the theaters.
Yeah.
This made,
because when I saw it in theaters, we were like the only people in the theater.
Oh, we were.
Nobody was there.
Like I saw it here in Austin. It was pretty popular, but like I know Austin's that weird thing, and it was so disheartening because it's such a damn good movie. In terms of just the way it's done, like I adore it. Everything else, except this fucker. This fucker I hate. This guy is the guy I hate the most.
I think this is still my favorite Edgar Wright movie.
I don't know if it's my favorite Edgar Wright movie. That's going to be a hard one for me to say. Because I adored Shaun of the Dead and I adored, all those movies. The entire Cornetto trilogy. But that does not mean that this movie is not good. It is definitely one of my top ones. Plus, I like how he has to sort of go and and navigate the waters of this party. But let's see how much Scott Pilgrim made. Because it's such a, I mean... this one girl. I love this graphic. I love how it transitions away the word.
Yeah. I just love that he still has that crushed cup in his hand.
I know.
Like, keep it cool, Scott. Keep it cool. She won't notice this if you talk about Pac-Man.
The thing is, I have never actually... I don't know if I've ever opened up with a video game trivia fact to head down a girl. I think I should try that one day.
Yeah, that'll go over real well.
Oh yeah, probably it'll go over smoothly. But maybe that's what we should do. Is that whenever there's a girl we really don't want to talk. I love this. Lazy dudes.
What do you think about Michael Cera?
This was the movie that I felt he did a different role in finally.
Yeah.
He always came off at this Amazon. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But yeah, Michael Cera is that weird guy that, like I said, I've seen him in certain things and it amused me, but this is the one where I finally turned around on him because I mean, I enjoyed him in, what was it called? With Jonah Hill.
Superbad.
I adored him in Superbad.
Yeah.
But I liked Jonah Hill. I liked him and the interaction with Jonah Hill better than I liked the movie and the actor.
I can see that.
But regardless, it's still, he's not a bad actor. This is the one until he goes, I fucking love this. I fucking love, like I said, I love the interaction between this guy and this guy.
Yeah, I think Michael Cera is pretty good. I think he gets a lot of flack.
And by the way, it's
people.
Kieran Culkin, by the way, for those who are curious.
Yeah.
All right, here's a question I'm gonna ask you, Brent.
Sure.
You're gonna tell me a number.
5.
All right, well, you're close. It's $47.6 million is made worldwide. How much do you think the budget of this movie was?
I'm gonna go 25 million.
Would you believe 60 million?
Really?
Yeah, 60 million is what this film cost, and it made 47 million worldwide. Yeah.
Ouch.
I know.
Ouch.
I know. Like, this is definitely a movie that's the Amazon CA. What's the website? Oh, God. So happy for you. I love this right here. Blah, 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 blah. That's exactly how I'd read this email. No, I'm surprised Scott uses AOL, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
He's a Canadian.
I guess he's Canadian, so
yeah.
that probably factors into it a bit.
That might factor into it.
Maybe they did a lot of a lot of testing with demographics in Canada and stuff.
Aww. This one sucks because Scott is like now drifting from Knives. Now here's a question: if let's say do not sit. Let's say Knives was not in high school. Let's say she was in college, or she was already in college and things like that, right?
Right.
Who would you have dated more, Knives or Ramona?
I mean, I feel like that's hard to say because Knives' character is that she's in school.
Yes,
Like that's her personality. Is that
No, I
I'm the
know.
girl who goes to school. So there's really not much to work off of there. So I mean, by default, Ramona, I guess.
Well, because once, cause I mean, I always liked Knives.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is that's the moment when they break up. Like, it's such a. I mean, it's so.
And that's the moment when he considers breaking up with her.
Yeah. I love
TIB.
Oh. Sorry. God, I love the I love like this. I like the subtle references of things, like the N64 T-shirt. God, it's such a great thing.
All of the video games.
All the video game stuff, because that's again, that was the thing that caught me, because everything else is like, who cares? Not because it's a bad thing, but it's just like, if this movie, let's say for example, let's say this movie was just about Scott Pilgrim breaking up with a younger girl, finding another girl in that. Let's say it had been just a bland romantic comedy.
Okay.
Like, we take away all the video game stuff, all the fighting sequences, and all the other things. All the P-bars, and this transition right here, which is my favorite transition in the movie, coming up.
Man, like, every scene has... that's an amazing moment where he just kind of taps all the towels.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every scene in this movie has something amazing.
But yeah, let's say we took away all of all of this stuff.
All of the style?
All the style. Because, I mean, ultimately, it's not that different of a romantic story. It's not a bad story to have the progression of Scott and how he gets to be, who he is now. But I think it's the style and the way it's, the execution, that is what really does it. By the way, I love this. I love this.
Sure. I mean, at the core, it's a pretty basic story.
But I love this. I love what he does in the box when it comes up. That's what I'm waiting for. But because ultimately, like, the story is Subspace Highway running through it. It's like 15. I love the way it's explained.
Yeah.
I don't think do we have Subspace Highways here?
No.
Okay, just make sure. Because when we get Subspace Highways here in America, I'm taking advantage of it. I'm certain there's one going through my head right now.
Yeah, maybe it's a regional thing.
And it has to be. She's just from New York. I mean, we live here in Austin. We're barely getting Google Fiber here. But back to the film at hand. It's because I think it's a style so much that I like the film. Like, because normally I wouldn't care for this kind of film, to be honest. I love that. There it is. I wouldn't care so much, right? Like, boy meets girl, guy starts falling in front of the girl, that kind of thing, because that's such a common story. Mm-hmm. But I think it's because of the fact that he has to go through the trials of the deadly exes, and that it becomes a lot of this sort of referential humor, and still a substance movie. If it wasn't for those sort of subtle things, I don't think I would like this story as much.
Sure.
Not to say that it's badly acted or badly shot or anything like that. It's great. I know I wouldn't like it as much because it has a lot of this sort of weird quirkiness to it. That's why I tend to like it more.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you lost the style, then it wouldn't be as niche. It would be more of a broad appeal. It would cover a larger swath of people, but it would resonate with far, far, far fewer of them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, of course you're going to have like a really big diminish aspect of it if you lose, what's arguably exceptionally special about this and unique to this movie in itself.
Exactly, and that's why I was so heartbroken when this didn't do that well. I mean, I had a feeling it wasn't going to do terribly well, but it didn't do like anything well, and I was super heartbroken. It's like, this is a great film. This is not gonna thingy. Oh,
yeah. And do you remember any of the marketing for this?
Kinda.
I don't.
I kind of remember that there was marketing, but not like enough where it would have told me the story.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a really hard movie to sell.
It is. Well, because it's a strange film. We've already gone over this. This is a video. I mean, the guy is wearing a CBC T-shirt, and I know that because I know the CBC. But that's neither here nor there. It's a weird film because it's especially for American audiences, because is done by a Canadian, which isn't a bad thing, but it's of Canada. Like, it's not so much like there's a lot of films that are filmed in Canada, but they're not of Canada. Like Harold and Kumar was filmed in Canada, but it wasn't set in Canada. This movie was filmed in Toronto and set in Toronto, and takes the streets of Toronto and does it because that's Brian O'Malley is from is Canadian. I love this. I will say this is probably the hottest thing in the movie. But that's neither here nor there.
That's why you wanted to comment on this movie, isn't it, Roberto?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You're like, I'm just waiting for 15 minutes in.
Oh, yeah, that's all we wait for. That's why we do half the movies we do.
And then we're just going to turn it off now.
Yeah, that's why
This is it.
That's what's going to happen.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in to
we're going to do Titanic
commentary.
next and fast forward all the way to the nude scene.
Yeah.
Because you already know what fucking happens at Titanic, so who gives a shit? But yeah, this is...
Draw me like one of your video game girls.
It makes it all pixely. Did you ever play the video game for this?
No. I think I saw you play it once.
I fucking love the video game for this. It's kind of beat 'em up game in River City Ransom style, which is where the bouncing coin reference is from an old video game on the Nintendo Entertainment System called the River City Rampage. River City Rampage. Or River City Ransom, sorry. I'm getting Retro City Rampage and River City mixed up in my head title-wise, since that's what they spoof on. But yeah, River City Ransom is where they get the dropping coin gag from. But yeah, this is such a weird... I mean, have you ever had a point in your life where you've had two girlfriends at the same time?
I've just barely had enough times in my life where I've had one girlfriend at the same time.
That's fair.
So, no.
I've never had that. I've always usually kept... If I need to break up with somebody, I'd break up with them and then...
I'm not a big enough player to be on Scott's level.
Well, players don't pay for...
Yeah, sure.
Sorry to go to bed. But I will say this. I would definitely have when it came to like the bands that came on this night. I love this guy here.
Hey.
Yeah.
Man, Scott is such a mess.
Scott is a total mess. Scott's a mess because Scott is such a at this point in the movie, Scott is a grade A on the road to being a D-bag. I love this. I love it because they're all nervous and they're all scared.
Man, we got to start watching less interesting movies because I'm just going to sit here and watch this.
I know. This is the problem.
I'm not even I don't want to talk.
I mean, thankfully, we've both seen this film.
It doesn't matter. I want to watch this movie.
I do, too.
I want you to stop talking so I can watch this movie.
We got to talk, though.
Turn this off.
I'm sorry, people.
Stop listening. I want to watch the movie.
We could talk about something else inside the movie. We could talk, oh, God, I'm so sad, so very sad. Here it is. The kid drummer. So sad. Thank you. This one. What I love about this is that this is supposed to be the good band, right? But what's great about this is that these guys are no different than any other kind of bullshit metal band.
Yeah.
They're playing literally middle D. And again, what's funny is that reference is this old is great. Them playing D at that moment is even a reference to a thing. Do you know about metal that the common chord for that is middle D, I think it is, or
Nope.
Like the D chord specifically. Like every bass does that. It's such a shitty thing because that's what makes like a lot of like the same kind of sounding things. This is a nightmare. Is that seriously the end of your story? Sex bomb. That's sex bomb. Bomb.
Go ahead, sound it out.
Sex
Bob-omb.
Sex bomb.
Bob-omb.
Bomb.
There you go.
You know where that's from, right?
Nope.
Super Mario Brothers 2. Fun fact, Super Mario Brothers 2 was originally called, actually was based on a game called Doki Doki Panic for the Famicom Disk System. See, I could totally drop facts like that on a girl and totally be as equally unimpressive as
you
Scott
got
Pilgrim.
the goods. That's some high caliber stuff.
That's the only thing I like Scott and I share. Because Scott can be a total D-bag, right? And it can totally do this kind of weird punky thing. I can't, Fuck this asshole. See, look at those assholes. Those assholes are like the guys I hate the most in music. I don't hate metal, but
that's an amazing moment where he messes up the lyrics.
Oh, that's right.
I love that bit. Go ahead.
I love this. I love it because there's a moment of because I love where that takes it. I love that's where you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
It's such a great moment because it's so great though. Now here's a question: would you make out with Oh, here it is.
I mean, if he plays his cards right, I don't think I would have the willpower to not. Man, look at that style. I could chew on that style for days.
I love this. This is the battle sequence. There it is. Reversal. What's great is that, again, fighting game stuff. What would be your super move in a fighting game?
It would be like a supernova sit move.
Okay.
Where I would just sit down and everyone would be so taken aback that everyone would be stunned.
I think I would definitely have a couple of aerial attacks and definitely throw a couple fireballs. Love that. I love that. That's such a great way to do it. It's such a. I mean, it's. Again, that I know where we keep talking about how we get sucked in the movie. It's because the style. You're right. It is what makes this film. Everything else is sort of this weird backdrop. The story is almost secondary to the style at sometimes, but the story is enough to push the plot around and push the characters around. But if it wasn't for half this other shit, none of this would matter. If it wasn't for these, this fight sequence and things like that, none of it would matter. None of this movie would be anywhere near as cool. It would not have had the appeal it had. It would not have had any kind of impact on me. The email.
Man, this venue is really well lit.
It is. Well, it's
I love it.
It's like concerts, dude. I didn't notice when they do some of the aerial shots, you actually get to see some of the feet motion. They kept some dust there to do that.
Yeah.
Or I think now maybe that's the thing. We gotta start looking at the weird subtle details. What's up with this outfit? Is he a pirate? Are you a pirate? And again, it's such a weird thing. It's because it's this sort of stuff is here's a story. So this is your favorite Edgar Wright movie.
Yeah.
Let's start ranking some Edgar Wright films.
All right.
This is obviously number 1 for you. What comes in number dos?
Number 2, Shaun of the Dead.
Okay. In toi? That's 3 in French, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Come on, Roberto. I'm cultured. I know. Oh, at the world's end.
Really?
Yeah.
And 4.
Hot Fuzz.
Okay. For me, I'm going to say Shaun of the Dead for number 1.
All right.
This movie for number 2. Hot Fuzz for 3 and World's End for 4.
Interesting. And then Ant-Man is 5th.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Well, Ant-Man hasn't come out yet. We don't know yet.
That's why it's 5th.
That's why it's 5th? Oh, you already know.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying until he can show me a product, that's 5th.
Because, like, this is going to be... I mean, there it is. They're gone now.
Yeah.
Here's where he uses them. How can this be? KO! Because that's exactly what we all say. Yes! River City Ransom reference. That's what when I saw that, like the points and the coins, like especially the coins, I was like, River City Ransom! I started was so happy. Because I think that's what it was for me. Everything else is pretty much tell your gay friends. I said bye, gay friends. That's what I love about it. For the puzzle.
Yeah.
That makes much sense.
Oh. We're about to see one of my favorite filmmaking techniques used in this movie in the next scene. I'm really excited to talk about it.
Okay, well, let's talk about it when we get there. Because I'm curious what filmmaking technique you're talking about.
All right, so they're about to be... Look, in the background, the boat are in X's when you're looking at Ramona, and they're hearts when you're looking at Scott.
Oh.
Because they use custom apertures. And then once Scott asks, like, oh, so are we a thing? Then Ramona's turn into hearts as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I
love that.
That's a great effect.
It's so cool. So subtle.
That is. I didn't even notice that till now.
I didn't notice it for the first couple watch throughs.
Now he's got to break up with
it.
I had a second base last night, and someone has a second date.
This is pretty much like my life.
You room with a gay guy, and then you date.
Yeah, I live in front of a live studio audience.
I think that shirt I don't know if that shirt's a reference to anything specifically. There have been many people that have had skull shirts on in pixel format. Mm-hmm. I'd like to say that, I'd have to really look into it. That might be a Diesel Sweeties reference. I doubt it, though. And that's the hard part with this movie is that there's a back thread in my brain that goes, tell Ramona about knives.
That's what the back thread in your brain goes?
Double standard. I didn't make up the K rule book.
That's a nice shirt.
It is.
I need a couple shirts like that.
We're not.
So I could look like less of a bum.
I know. They make movies in Toronto. They make all movies in Toronto. God, I love this. I would watch movies like this, by the way.
Dude, me too.
I'd totally watch a film like that.
Yeah. I love that they totally transitioned into Scott in a telephone booth, which I never I never pieced that transition together.
I never did either.
And they've even got the spinning, rotating shot, just like they did in the Lucas Lee movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Filmmaking, how do they do it?
How do they do it? So let's see. God, she's breaking up with her, like... I love it. Scott's like getting to the point now of like having to make excuses. I love this effect right here. Him waving away. But yeah, I wish. I mean, like, here's the question. Let's say that Scott never met Ramona. You know, and this movie never happened.
All right.
Would we even have a story? Do you think Scott would have stayed together with Knives?
I mean, longer than he did here, sure, but...
Not ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Knives is just simply for him...
Just a crutch, really.
Yeah.
Because he's super insecure about himself, and he finally found someone who kind of looks up to him, which is assuring.
Yeah. And now he finds an equal. I mean, I feel bad for Knives. I always have in this sort of movie, because Knives is cool. Knives didn't deserve any of it. There it is, Final Fantasy II. He meant 4 specifically. Did you know that the Japanese?
Nope. But go ahead.
The Japanese version of 2 is called Final Fantasy IV. Specifically here in the States, we only got Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 for the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, and Super Nintendo respectively. We would later get 7, and that's when we learned the entire actual naming of each Final Fantasy, which was 1, 2 for the Famicom, 3 for the Famicom, 4 for the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, 5 for the Super Famicom, and 6 for the Super Famicom, until the 7 we got for the PlayStation 1.
Roberto, why are you holding that crushed red cup in your hand as you say that?
Because I've always wanted you. This is what's weird, is that I know half this shit off the top of my head, and like that is the only thing I share with Scott Pilgrim in this movie.
Ramona reminds me a little bit of Clementine from Eternal Sunshine.
Yep, she does.
Well, with all of her changing hairs.
Well, I think that's the point. I think the point is she's supposed to be this, like, I mean, I like her, but young Neil. See, that's where it was. They dated.
Yeah.
Neil knows my parts. Neil. I love that Neil ends up getting in the band. I love that about me gaying the place up. Do you have any hetero crushes? Any man crushes, as they say?
I mean, totally.
All right, who's your hetero man crush?
Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Of course. I mean,
he is dreamy.
Dude's got it.
Yeah, I will agree with you there. We'll agree with that there.
Locked down. Put that dude in a suit.
I'm trying to think what mine is. Mine varies from time to time, but I'll go Ryan Gosling for now, because there's plenty out there.
You're just copying me.
I am, because I can't think of one off the top of my head. Like the one that came to mind is like, it's like fictional characters I have more of a association with. That's what's weird.
Well, I live in the real world.
I know
Roberto.
you do. I live in a video game world.
Yeah.
Did you know? No, just kidding. We could make. I can make more reference. I could reference everything in this film. That's what it's almost a weird thing to me, because at the back of my brain it goes, all right, Like there was one point in time there was an oh god, there it is, the make cutscene, which is exactly what I'd want to be doing right now with this girl.
I mean, sure. This is where they do. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Man, I could cut the style with a knife.
Yes.
And just eat it.
It wasn't.
Because so much style. It's palpable.
It was brutal. She stopped liking that name. Have you ever felt that way around a girl, like where like you've questioned everything that is you?
No.
Not everything that's you, but by the way, I love the use of X's. By the way, the 2 X's that came up at the beginning are.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Yeah. There's 2 X's to signify we're about to go into battle.
Yeah. Maybe I should have been paying attention.
Maybe you should have been paying attention.
It's not like that's what we're doing here or anything.
I know. But yes, has there ever been an ex in your entire life or a girl you've wanted to date that has almost questioned you to be a certain way?
Not really.
Me neither, to be honest. I've always been me. Mr. Lee. Oh. I love this. I love the usage of the universal, the double play of the universal theme.
Yeah.
It's so great. It was such a again, just weird subtle touches.
Yeah.
I used to date that clown. Oh man. Does he know? I mean, at what point do you start putting together that you have to fight each one of these motherfuckers?
I mean, I feel like he should have figured it out a little bit sooner than he did. But
I mean, what sucks is that what's such weird about this whole film is that I've like, have you ever had to deal with a girl you're dating's ex, or a girl you're even interested in his ex? You're smiling like there's a story behind this.
I don't want to talk about it too much. I've had to deal with people's current partners.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I would love to ask you more, but
yeah, we'll talk about it someday.
Let me think if I can think of a story then about that, because I've had to deal with, like, not exes per se. God, I fucking love the fact that he has to verse all the fucking stunt doubles.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be the hardest part of dealing with all fucking all body doubles and shit. Let me think if I've actually had to deal with an ex before. I'll tell you a funny story.
All right.
So there was this, at one point in college, a girl that I was trying to hook up with. And I had actually, played it wrong, so to speak, and like taking this girl out before we went to Six Flags and bullshit like that. I had to suffer through fucking, like, do you know, like at Six Flags, all those like lame musical bullshit things that happen there?
Not really.
Okay, you ever been to Six Flags?
Once.
Okay, well, at Six Flags in some of these parks, they have these like bullshit shows that happen.
Okay.
They're like musical, like think of Grease, except if done like 20 times worse.
Okay.
And so I had to suffer through. God, this is hilarious. Love that he gets coffee. You're needed on the set. But anyways, so I take this girl out a lot of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm at work, and I'd always jokingly said in my head that this girl probably has a crush on a friend of mine, which she did, which I'd learn soon. But so she told me over Messenger, right, that she's interested in my friend Eric. Now, my friend Eric at the time, I think he's married now, so this doesn't really matter. My friend Eric was really one of those sort of androgynous kind of guys, and really didn't like actively hit on girls because girls would actively hit on him, and he kind of got a little annoyed. I love that.
Sure.
And so I always jokingly said this girl probably has something wants something from this guy Eric as a joke, and then she messages me, like, hey, can you hook me up with your friend Eric? And here I am, was like trying things. I started laughing in my head. And what's funny is that exact moment my friend Eric walked in, like looking at me, and I was just laughing because he was at work. He's like, "What are you laughing about?" Like, I'll tell you later. Don't worry. He'd walked in actually because he was asking me, "Can you overdose on caffeine?" Because he had taken 2 no-dos by accident. Which I think was a funnier story because he was freaking out. But anyways, the kicker of the story, was at one point Eric got really drunk at a pool party, right? And, Eric comes to me drunk and he goes, Robert. Everyone watch this first. I love this scene first. The speed.
Yeah.
Wow. Here it is.
Man, I just want to give Edgar Wright a big hug.
I do too. I love that. Wow. That's my favorite wow, to be honest. Though. Oh, yes.
So as you were saying.
So he was drunk that night, right? And he goes, Robert, you should hate me. And I go, Eric, why should I hate you? He goes, Robert, you know why. You should totally hate me, referring to the whole thing. And I was like, I don't fucking hate you. It was funny because I had actually forgot about that whole thing, that whole chapter, until he brought it up when he was drunk, which means that like somewhere in the back of his mind, that was still present. Like that was a guilt that he had.
Yeah.
And so I've dealt with that. I don't think I've ever dealt with where a girl's dating a guy, because usually for me, when they say they're dating somebody, that's usually kind of my like I stop point. Sure. Like I've definitely had been attracted to a girl that's dating somebody, and I've talked with them, but I've never crossed that line. I've never had the guts to cross that line.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to do.
Well, because like I've never, you're smiling because you don't want to talk about your situation at all.
No,
that's not talking about my situation. I can talk about my situation. I don't give a fuck. And this makes content because else we're gonna get sucked in this movie again, which is a good movie, but
yeah, I'm just pretending that the movie's not even on anymore because that way I might actually say something.
All right, well, let's get back to talking about this film.
Hold on, let me check Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm pretending the movie's not going. Gigaloop says, "Cool, thanks. I talked to her about the House of the Devil." So, oh yeah, this movie's still on.
This movie's still on. Because I am right now waiting for a couple scenes to kick in. Specifically, I love that he still has pictures of her. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this.
That seems really, really unhealthy.
Yeah, like let's just
really unhealthy.
Very unhealthy.
She's so dramatic.
She is, but what sucks is that like Scott has to deal. Like they have to deal with this. Yeah. Love that. See, there it is with the X's around.
Yeah.
I guess to get rid of his X-Men patch. This is my favorite X right here.
Yeah.
Time!
What's that a video game reference to?
I don't think that's a specific video game reference, but it's definitely video game like, timing moves and things like that.
No, I was talking about the punching in the boob part.
I guess technically if you fight a female character, you do punch characters in the boob a lot.
All right.
Not really specifically referenced to one individual game.
So it's reference to Street Fighter.
Yeah, let's say
Tekken.
That.
Yeah. I'm really reaching.
Let's
my
see,
limits
like how
here.
many fighting games? Let's see, how many Street Fighters have you played?
Not many.
Let's see, I have
One or
played.
two,
I have
maybe?
played Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2,
You played all of them.
Super Street Fighter 2,
That's
Street
cool,
Fighter
I
2
get it.
Turbo, Street
There are a
Fighter
bunch
2
of
Championship
Street Fighters.
Edition.
You played all of them. It's
Street
okay.
Fighter 3, Street Fighter Alpha, Alpha 2. I think I played. I always played Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4. My favorite game is still Capcom vs SNK 2. Mark of the Millennium 2001. Because I have to reference that game. I love that bleep.
Yeah. It's really great.
I love that they reference it. Like, that's what I love about that they
Yeah.
reference the fact, like,
It's so weird and it's so perfect. Man, Clash and Demonhead, they really get around. They're really good at marketing.
of course they are.
They got posters up everywhere, CDs everywhere.
Well, of course. They're Clash of Demonhead. They are a multi-million-dollar band that gets advertised and bullshit like that.
Yeah.
They
And
represent...
I guess they're also local in this setting, so they probably get a lot of press there.
They do, but they are essentially the marketed as the... How do I base say it? Like, they are the inverse of... It's my ex. I try to think if I've ever like wanted to, like, for me. Here's the thing: for me, when it comes to dating, girls, whenever I break up with them, like during high school, there was a girl I kept over, dating on and off. But after high
Just
school,
because you loved breaking up with her so much, you're like,
no,
man, this is great.
not even.
I gotta just keep breaking up with you.
not even. No, like she's like, God, fucking Pilgrim. I love that.
So yeah, we agree. You just really like breaking up with people
Sure. No, I don't. In fact,
because you're just heartless.
No, to be honest, if we're gonna go to someplace real, I'm terrible at breakups. And I really, really wish it wouldn't be. Like, I wish there was a world. This tells you how much of a horrible, how much of a spineless bastard I am sometimes. I wish sometimes there was a world where, God, I fucking love this. This is what I love it. I love that he starts collecting them. That's what I love about this fucking thing. For the band. All of our shows are secret. G-Man might be there.
You ever play any music?
I used to play saxophone back in middle school. About you, you played guitar, right?
I used to play guitar a little bit. I've got a viola now. I can't play the viola very well. I do play a bit of piano, though.
I feel so bad for Knives.
Yeah. Although, don't feel too bad for her. She's not exactly handling it super well.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she's handling it like any other high school girl should handle it.
Yeah, which is to say, not very well.
I guess so. Sorry, we're just. Young Neil. This isn't even my favorite one for the show. This is not my favorite one.
Yeah, you like the duel.
Oh God, I fucking love the duel. I can't wait till we
really
get to
cool.
that. That is like. Okay, bar now. But yeah, no. So, like high school, I never really, I mean, I dated every so often like that. Actually,
Just to
not
break
even high
up with-
schoal. Actually, it wasn't even high school. I dated the girl. Middle school when I did that shit. High school really didn't date. Surprised enough, like I said, I'm the kind of guy that gets very like I have like no. God, I fucking love that shot. I'm sorry. It's like a movie. I love it. She feels like she has to. Oh my God, that's so fucking. What the hell? I gotta go pee on her. Oh God, I love that part. I can't wait till we get to the fucking duel. But yeah, I'm the kind of guy that I'm so kind. And I fucking admit this. I am like so fucking spineless that I wish it was like culturally acceptable to break up with girls over text messages.
Man, that just seems like a real bad way to do it.
It is. It's ultimately a horrible way to do it because it's so impersonal, so fucking horrible. And I know that, and I know I never do that, I never will. But like, it would be so just like, because like that's the hard part is going up to a girl and saying like, I think we should see other people or whatever.
Man, it would be way easier if we were just robots.
Exactly. If we could just be a bit and a half to do it. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it would be way easier if I could just say, look. Not because I don't want to, because that's the hard part. I can't deal with someone crying, and I can't deal with that. And I know my brain would go like, "I'm so sorry. I just don't want to see you hurt." I mean, I know I have to, and I have broken up with a girl like in person and things like that. Like the last breakup, the girl broke.
Just because you enjoy it so much.
The last girl.
I'm glad we learned something really deep and true to your soul during this commentary.
Of course. Why wouldn't we? Because this movie is supposed to reveal how much, in common I have with Scott.
Yeah.
And how much I don't have in common with Scott. Because I think it's like, that was like my high school self. And like, I've definitely changed. Come backstage. I fucking stutter. I love that.
So now Scott's dated 4 people in this room?
Yep.
Man.
Wait. Yeah, 4, you're right. Now, what's interesting, do you notice the framing is all the X's on one side?
Yeah.
We have the two, we have the pair of X and X and all that. I played the Chaos Theater. Chaos Theater, by the way, is a Earthbound reference.
There you go. That's your one.
That's the only one in the entire thing. Of course, in the comic, there is a reference. Oh my god. What a bitch.
He punched the highlights out of her hair.
Yeah, here it is. Why would you? He really doesn't. I hate that guy. Isn't that guy? Who's that guy play now? He plays Cyclops, right?
Man, I don't know.
I have to look at who he plays. Oh, fucking vegan powers.
Would you go vegan if you could have superpowers?
Fuck that shit. No.
It seems like a lot of work for
It seems like a
superpowers.
lot of work for just telekinetic powers. And not even really useful telekinetic powers.
But also you get really nice hair.
Yeah, but Scott's not vegan and he gets nice hair too.
I wouldn't say Scott's hair is all that great.
That's not that big a deal. There's a lot of threes in this shot. For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Look, know the ovum. Do you think he knows what ovum means?
Probably not.
I will say this. I like how Scott... Maybe if you do the science. Oh, fuck this asshole. Well, that is probably an anime reference or any movie reference. Him saying, is there a key element to his backstory?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just all storytelling reference, just about.
But but him saying specifically there's a key element to his backstory.
Yeah.
Like him bringing up the reference. Again, it's so weird how many,
I think maybe you're relating with Scott too much when you should be relating with Ramona because you dump everyone and you hate everyone.
I don't hate everyone.
Yep.
I've actually, if I think of it,
You told me before this recording that, Brant, I hate everyone.
Of course, I hate everyone. Actually, if I put it in perspective, I think I have had maybe 3 girlfriends in my entire life.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting real. I'm literally at
Whoa. Dropping some bombs.
sounds of science. Like totally, I know how to get women. Not at fucking all. I'm terrible with women. Like I said, I am that not weird guy. Just I always have like the weird luck of like, oh wow, this girl's really cool. Oh hey, that's her boyfriend. And then like I said, I have that sort of moment where I say, well, that boyfriend, that's endo discussion. But
That's an unfortunate mindset.
It is. It's very much, but
But I understand it.
You understand it?
Yeah.
Are you the same way, or do you tend?
I'm for the most part the same way.
Okay. Because it's not because I don't want to date the girl. Just like, I don't want to be that guy that has to go and say, "Yo, man, this guy is terrible for." Like, I don't want to be that person because that seems like such a weird thing. And here it is, the D.
Man, all the music is so good.
Oh yeah. I love that he's playing the bass line from Final Fantasy IV. What's great about it is that because it's such a... I mean, definitely this guy's got way more skill than Scott, as a bassist.
Yeah.
But what I love about like a lot of these musical fights that come up is that they all pair up very well. Like there is some musical references, things like that. But that's the thing I dig about it, is that there's such a cool pairing.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to the moment, the reversal, because Scott is a fucking awesome person. I love it that he thinks. This is what I love about it. Love it's so easy to trick him. Owned. Vegan police are awesome.
Yeah.
I love them because they look like, like Starsky and Hutch kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
John isn't vegan. The deveganizing Ray. I love this. The hair goes away. Oh, that's such a great attack. Love this right here. Yeah! Bam! Such a great way of fucking... I love it. Oh! Natalie.
Shots fired.
What I like about Envy, or Natalie, is that she... What I love about her as a character is that she's... I love the Coke Zero. I love that at that point is when she realizes that maybe she should have stayed with Scott. I like that's her, like...
Or just that he's a decent dude.
Yeah.
And also, it's really important to the development of Scott's character.
That's what I like about it.
It's one of the first times we see him not just being a real doucher.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about it. Again, this is why I like... I mean, because this is kind of what it is that Scott is going through... I mean, because Scott's essentially, like, that's the progression of the story is him becoming... By the way, did you notice the 4 up there?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
I caught the 4. There's a 4
right.
as signify. Our 4th X is coming up.
I'm sure at some point I've seen it, but, like...
You just didn't notice at that point. I noticed it at the corner of my eye.
They're really good about that.
Like I said, I'm right now waiting for the fucking duel fight because... I love this. No. Oh. Why do I keep saying X's? And there you go. Oh, man. That is, of course, a Sonic the Hedgehog reference with the ring. Did you ever play Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhat.
There you go. There was two Sonic sounds right then and there. I wonder if you have to license that sound.
Probably. I guess it depends on how it's done.
And this is why I like the fact that she has to get the League. And that's another Sonic reference. Specifically this Sonic 12-volt sound. Well, I love the fact that she actually has a bag that goes into literal hammer space. I fucking love Wallace. Wallace may be my favorite character in this entire movie.
Yeah.
Because Wallace the thing is that like Scott's questioning everything, like what the fuck is going on? Wallace like, fuck it, who gives a shit? I'm gonna drink here.
Yeah.
It's just like, this happening? Oh yeah, kick her in the balls. I'm gonna drink. KO. You don't have a choice. I love this fighting sequence. I don't think I hit her, girl. They're soft. It's such a...
I'm just gonna watch this for a little while.
I think we have to. Effed in the B. I love this.
It's a lot of coins.
It is. I don't know. Does he get a 1-up at this point?
No.
He gets a 1-up next point, right?
Yeah.
I wish
Because he has to get a life.
Yeah, yeah. You quote it. Ba-doom-dink.
Yeah.
Oh!
She really should have a list printed out. You'd think this.
Yeah, this is common occurrence that she should have. I mean, she gave her when she gave the phone number, she put the X's on there.
Right.
Like that was enough.
Oh, that's laminated.
Yep. Oh. I love this. Black hair, bleach, same face. I'm getting tingles. I'm gonna take them apart. Actually, no. This is my favorite. I love it. He's wearing a Rock Band shirt.
Yeah. Man, there's just so much stuff in this movie where it's like, I don't even know how they did it.
Oh, I know some of the things that they did and how they did it, but...
Man, there's a lot of stuff that's just like...
There is.
I assume they just have to augment it digitally in post, but like... I don't even know.
Well, it's like how they mix certain things. Like there's points, for example, like there's a lot of practical mixing of things. Like for example, during the... Oh, there he is. There is...
Go ahead.
Gideon. What's his actor's name again? Fuck, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
I'll look it up in a second. But hold on. Here it is. This is my favorite fight sequence in the entire movie. And my favorite song in the entire movie. Because apparently these guys are like the Beck of Japan.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see who played them. Yes. Well, because what I love about this sequence, this is what I think I enjoy the most about this sequence, and it's from a guy that likes punk and likes techno and likes a lot of these different, musical styles, right? Mm-hmm. That when it comes to the Cornelius is the band, and they're like the Japanese version of Beck, and they're really cool. Talking about death and get sad and stuff. Is the beginning of the song. Plus, anyways, what I love about this sequence is that when it comes to like the figures that they get to produce, you'll notice that Cornel, I guess the twins is very clean, digital, kind of dragony sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And that they're pretty much just, it's very digital. It's very much an effect, right?
Right.
Where when it comes to the Sex Bombs, it's pretty much like the most punk drawing of all time. Like it's a dinosaur, sketchy and pencil-y. It has a very low quality to it. And I love about this. And he puts two and two together. Let's do this.
I need to get the soundtrack to this movie.
I have both of them. I have both the soundtrack and the score. I bought it like the minute I saw it, the minute the movie. I think I bought it before, like after the movie. But I love this. It's like just like this like like the most punk monster of all time. Just it's raw. It's cool, but like it has so much more like character than that, and I think that's what I like about it so much. Again, because it's weird, because I'm a techno guy, I'm an electronic guy, but I'm a punk rocker at heart, and I think that's why I always, you know, associate more with
That's really cool.
Oh, I love it too. And I associate more with Sex Bomb. There it is. And look at the score. There it is. Extra Life. But yeah, it's definitely a good soundtrack to get. And that's, like I said, my favorite scene is that fight. I feel so bad for Knives. Jason Schwartzman is Gideon.
Right.
That's who it was. Now that we... I'm trying to think... actually, one of my favorite random cameos by Jason Schwartzman is in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I saw the movie once.
There's a point where they're interviewing Zaphod Beeblebrox, and Jason Schwartzman comes up on the screen as like one of the guys they're interviewing based on him. What I'm trying to think other movies Jason Schwartzman's been in.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
I know. That's what I'm trying to think in my head of ones without looking it up, because I know he's been in plenty.
Yeah.
And there's Gideon. Fucking hate this asshole. Well, because Gideon, again, it's funny. Well, then you're not part of the band. And then what I love about this is that this is where Scott's got a life. Like, Scott at this point is his own man. He's done. Everything, though, breaks around Scott for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And these three assholes sold out. They realize they sell out after they go where they go. To the Chaos Theater. But what I like about this, because essentially Gideon and Scott are both at different parallels of life. Like, at what point, Gideon and Scott were very similar. Both were complete douchebags. Mm-hmm. But at this point, but they're at the douchebags of a different spectrum. Gideon's like the moneyed hipster douchebag, and Scott was sort of the geeky douchebag, for lack of better words. Yeah. But what I like about this point in the movie is that Scott is now his own person. He's got morals. He's got a code of some sort. He is who he is. And you can see the complete polar opposite of where Scott could have gone if he had not met Ramona and not had kind of, done what he did. Because right now Scott's like completely hurting and completely like out of it.
Right.
And Thonk.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never really considered that could have been Scott down the road.
Yeah, you give Scott money,
yeah.
you give him all the things, he could have been Gideon very equally. I mean, that was sort of the comment of why what Ramona said was that, she's dated a whole bunch of assholes because they have been assholes. And Scott was an asshole, but Scott essentially stopped being one because he had to go through all this kind of trials and tribulations and said, you know what? No, this girl's worth it. This is worth all this silly thing.
So we're gonna do commentary on a few Anna Kendrick movies.
Oh, are we?
Down the road, yeah.
Well, give me some. Give a little bit of a taste to the
Up in
audience.
the Air.
Okay.
Up in the Air is amazing.
Okay.
Pitch Perfect.
Okay.
Gotta do Pitch Perfect.
All right.
That's a surprisingly incredible movie.
Hold on, back to Wallace. We gotta go back to gay Wallace. Presumably you saw some guy's junk, and I apologize for that. He apologizes too. Sorry. I love you. You broke up. Better than you. I fucking hate Gideon. I think it's because Gideon represents everything I hate in life. That's the point, right? I mean, you're supposed to become one with Scott at this point in the movie. Because at the beginning, you're like, fuck Scott. Scott's a complete jackass. Who gives a shit if he gets the girl or not? But... the Chaos Theater. What a perfect asshole. Finish him. I love that. Finish him.
And then, of course, a very classic Edgar Wright montage sequence.
Take a time untying the shoes and... There it is. Yeah. Round 1. I love that he gives him multiple rounds for level 1. You know, I love this. This is great. Whatever.
Cool.
All the stupid... Whatever.
Yeah.
We're not having fun. And I love about this is because fun fact, the Chaos Theater does not look like this at all in Earthbound.
Oh, really?
In fact, the Chaos Theater is the first...
Does it look way less cool?
Actually, it looks way more like an actual theater. The Chaos Theater actually is where you meet the band, the Runaway Five, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Chaos Theater is in Tucson, in the cities. Yeah, because Tucson in that, and it's the Chaos, Tripoli Theater is in Forsyth. Right, Chaos Theater is in Tucson.
Sure sounds like a thing. I can attest to that.
God, this is what's fucking weird, is that's what my brain decides to remember. Was that not clear? I'll have to do that.
This was like this was one of the first promotional images released.
Yeah.
From the movie. Scott with the sword.
Yeah.
That was this thing where, like, after a little bit of buzz and then seeing that image, I was just like, all right, I'm in. I got this movie.
All out and stuff. And that's what I love about that. I love it because, like, that's where they're at in this point in the movie. And I like, it's where it leads into that becomes my favorite line. Because, like, they are not having fun, that band.
No. Man, the coins look so good.
It's a great effect.
It's such an amazing effect. It's really good.
I mean, it is River City Ransom. It's such a... I mean, it's video gamey, but it's almost specific video gamey. And that's, I think, what pissed me off about this so much, that why I did so poorly. Because, like, this is the best video game movie ever made.
I agree with that.
And what sucks about it is that, like, I didn't even know what I was getting into when I saw it. And when I was done, I was like, not only was this a good movie... By the way, I love those hearts.
Yeah, I've never noticed those until just now.
Exactly. I was saying the same thing, too. But I still love it, unless... I love that Knives gets into this mix. Because this is where he has to admit that he was an asshole, too.
Right.
But what's cool, the thing is that what I like about it is that he admits, like, after he understands stuff, he admits that he's an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, look, I'm sorry. I apologize for all the things. Sorry. And we start talking about all that stuff here. Because everything gets revealed finally. And then they just kind of that. I mean, because ultimately that. Now, apparently, wasn't there's an ending in this movie where he hooks up back up with Knives, right?
Right.
And apparently that didn't play that well, and so that's when they put the ending officially in.
And
there.
also, I think that's how the comic ended, right?
I think so.
I think I remember hearing that was maybe a thing. But I definitely know that was sort of an ending, but yeah, it didn't play very well.
Because I think at this point the comic hadn't ended. I don't know. I had to look at the history of things.
And just the way the movie goes throughout the course of it, like it just makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
the way it is now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Had I not heard that or had saw like the deleted scene in the Blu-ray here, I would never have thought that existed.
Right.
And this is where he tells the truth.
For the most part.
Right.
Yeah, he tells the truth, but he doesn't fully own up to it.
Not yet.
Yeah.
You weren't wronged. Thing is, he's not quite there yet. Like, he's almost there.
Yeah.
Thank God you had that one up. Cheat. Death. That would be a good line for a game over. Now, I don't know if that desert's actually referenced to anything. I doubt it is. But I still like that this is what it is.
EX.
That's those fucking glasses. Those glasses are dreamy.
Yeah. You show me anybody in those glasses and I'm sold.
Oh, yeah. But as we come to the end of this film, I think that's why I like coming up. I always found that chip thing weird, by the way. But it makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd.
But I think it's the idea.
Device.
It's the idea of the chip is less of like, oh, it's a chip. It's more of Ramona's obsession with what Gideon is.
Sure.
Like that ideal, like in some ways, Ramona to Gideon is like Knives to Scott.
Yeah.
But eventually, Scott will break that bond and make everyone realize, wait a minute, fuck this guy. This guy's just an asshole. Where Scott would have been, Scott was an asshole back then too. He's not anymore. And I think that's what I like about him is that he is not an asshole anymore. Although he picked up that one up. He gets this point here. ×2 bonus. Bam! Bam! Fuck that shit. That's what that is. I love that reference. Neil. Sorry. And again, this is what I like about him, is that this is the point where everything, club sucks, I got beef, let's do it. of self-respect.
I also love that there's kind of this very video gamey thing where he's basically speed running through all of the old stuff.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to the boss fight, like it has to stop him down and do the cutscene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck this. Look, I know this shit. Just get me to the point of the game. Like, he knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows the motions. It's like, let's get the battle sequence done. I should one day look at all the stats, but I know that the stats of self-respect give way more than the power of love. So what that means is that Huey Lewis, we can now answer the question of what the power of love stats actually, what the power of love truly is.
Sure.
Because he always said, like, that's the power of love. And we can actually say that the power of self-respect is greater than the power of love. Suck on that, Huey Lewis.
I don't know why you're trying to start a feud with Huey Lewis.
I don't want to start a feud with Huey Lewis.
He would take you down
He would
so
probably
fast.
take me down so fast. I love this. This is where he owns up to everything. That's the final battle with a pixely sword. You got to see a little bit of a life bar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, points too. Shit.
So
I love that Knives tags in.
So Scott Pilgrim swords or lightsabers?
Scott Pilgrim swords.
I think so too. I think they're way cooler.
Well, it's because again, I'm a video game person, and having a pixelated, having a lot of these. Because like, look, this is what you get with a Scott Pilgrim sword. You get to have a score total, and that's important to me.
Yeah.
Having a point total.
You don't get high scores with lightsabers.
No, you don't get reversals. You don't get the blinking enemy. By the way, that's also a great effect. The idea of the blinkingness.
Yeah.
And that's such a classic video game reference that I don't even have to talk about it. Because we all know that when enemies blinking, that's when they're weak. But that's why I love it so much. Is that that's the case? That it's such a, a cool thing. Is that like a video game total? And here it is. Still my girl. Oh! Bad. And the point is, even like Knives is like pissed off. That's what I love about this scene. And now it's time to fight the real way. I love that shot. I love the way they shot that.
That was super cool.
Again, the G-Man life. I love it. It's such a great thing. It's such a subtle, sort of weird reference way of doing it. And him de-resing is really cool.
So cool.
Yes.
He's Coke Zero.
Yep. And again, I love it. Gayo! Don't we get a final score right here? Yeah, that's right. Nicely done, Pilgrim. So, I mean, you know what that means, right?
What?
We got to beat his high score.
All right.
What video game do you think you have set a good high score on?
All of them. Because I'm the best at video games. MLG World Champion right here.
Oh, yeah, of course. I think we had this. We joked about this.
Yep. But I wasn't joking.
That's true.
You took it as a joke because you didn't think I was serious.
I did talk with somebody about being MLG. I have a friend of mine online. I joke with him that one all the time. Me personally, I think Galaga's my game.
Yeah, I could beat that.
To make a good combo.
Highest score, World Champion. There's a lot of Canadian coins in there.
I love this. It's because Chris Canadian. Here it is.
Yeah.
This is also another reference to a video game idea.
Scott.
You always have to fight your evil twin in video games. In Zelda 2, you fought your shadow. So it's the mirror. Yeah. You always fight your mirror. What I love is how they end this. I'm going to wait for it because I want to comment on it when we get there. Because it's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
I would never fight my nega self. I would totally be like, what the fuck are we doing? It's like, come on, look, this is the only chance we're ever going to get to have a perfect co-op match of anything. Let's throw down some Secret of Mana and be done with this. Totally,
Man. I could be so productive with a nega version of myself. Like, we could do twice the work at once.
I know.
I would get so much stuff done.
Exactly. I would sew those stuff. And I love this because there's a point where after all that. I'm still mad that this movie did. I'm still mad this movie did so badly in terms of financials. Not because it didn't make it any more awesome. It's still an awesome film. But I just like my brother's not a video game person. I think he'd enjoy this movie. Like, I mean, you are a video game person to a certain degree, but you're definitely not a classic gamer, and definitely a lot of the more classic references escaped you.
Right.
But that doesn't make this movie any way less cool.
No.
Even and especially you and I are prime examples that this movie works without us even having any knowledge of the comic book. Mm-hmm. On various things. Like, I got some of the video game references, you got maybe a few of them, but the point is we both enjoyed the movie for either the same or different reasons, but enough we both adore this film.
Yeah.
And so this should have worked well. It just I think that there was you're right. I do remember one marketing thing, but I don't remember exact details. I'm still kill free anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of movies that kind of fall in that category where it's just really amazing movies that are really hard to get people to invest in seeing it in theaters. Because most people, it takes a lot of effort for them to go into theaters to see something.
Yeah.
It takes a big time investment. It takes a big cost investment.
Yep.
And for something like this that maybe they've never heard of and just looks kind of weird, that might not resonate with them at all.
Yep.
It's a tough sell.
It is big, and it's
Which
hard.
Which is a shame.
It is, because this is a frippin' good movie. I literally didn't curse because of that, but it's like we were talking about earlier during the movie, that if all the style was gone, it'd be nothing, and we wouldn't care. It'd just be a bland movie that would have broader appeal, and it made more money, and all that fun jazz that, kind of matters.
Throw Matthew McConaughey in there.
Yeah, and it would have been a shitty romantic comedy, and who gives a fuck? But because of everything it does, the way it does it, that's what makes it awesome, and that's what makes it such a beautiful movie, and it was such a downer because I watched it and I went in there completely cold, and I was like, this is awesome. This is the best thing I had seen that year, and it's still one of my favorite films. It's not my favorite Edgar Wright film, but that's just because of little minute things. But it's still up there in my favorite top films. It's definitely one of my better known films I like. Like, it's a point where I bought not only the soundtrack that came with the movie, but the secondary soundtrack of the score to the video game when it came out. Like, the only things I don't have the comics just because I never got into them. But I really wanted to, and I still kind of do. But I adored it, and I thought it was a fantastic film. And it was one of those films that, like, I wish people had saw this film because it's a great Edgar Wright film. This is something that'll never be seen by many people, and I never could understand why.
I will say, though, it was kind of nice having this to be like a secret little gem that I could very personally identify with, that I knew that most people hadn't seen. Yeah,
that is true. And for me, it was good for me because I'm a video. I love referential humor. I love video game humor, and I love that there's those little things. And there'll be other times where I hear the nods in the movie the first time seeing it that I wouldn't have known were true nods until I went and heard the actual official commentary track, because I'm always scared to think that they're nods because it's so rare that they'll nod to me. You know, it's like, hey, it's a Chaos Theater. Like, is that a nod to Earthbound? And then I would later read the comic had a direct nod to Mother 3 and things like that, and that you know, Brian Lee O'Malley is a huge Earthbound and Mother fan of the series of games. And I'm like, I wish I'd known that going in because I wouldn't have felt so unconfident that wasn't it.
Yeah,
because it's rare that a movie is tailored to me or tailored to my audience, and those movies are so few and far between that I always doubt it. Even geek movies are rare like that, and maybe that's just the thing of Edgar Wright. Maybe that's why Edgar Wright picked this comic to do it. Maybe that's why he does it, because he is that kind of person. Like, if you watch Spaced, you know, he made a lot of random pop culture and video game references. You watch Shaun the Dead, any of his movies he's done, he does those very specifically. So I think that him doing, like, if there had been any other director doing this film, had been any other, you know, jerk-off director, I think it would have got lost in that. I think all that would have been lost, and they would have made for a more bland thing and everything else. Mm-hmm. But because Edgar Wright knew this and respected the material, respected, you know, the idea of making it even video gaming in some sense, and took a lot of those sensibilities, you know, it makes that 20 times better. It makes that thing that we love, and that makes that thing that we really enjoyed about that.
Man, I can't even think of any other director who could even make something like really truly interesting out of this.
I don't either. I really could not. I
like, they could make something weird, but like, I can't. None of those scenarios make any sense for something I would want to watch.
There is the pixel version. That's in the video game, by the way.
I don't think I've ever seen
this
ending here.
That's the video game, though.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And we are done with this. We're actually now at the end of this whole thing. Brant, once again, as always, awesome to do this with you. Tell people they can find you online.
Yo, look up my name. It's Brant, but with the D. So BRANDT Hughes, HUGHES. You can find me on Twitter at Gatowag. That's GATOWAG. Yep, that sounds right. I'm everywhere.
That's cool. Of course, you can find me. I'm at Vincent404. You want to join the discussion for this episode and check out all of our previous episodes, go to our website, CosmicRadio.TV/Cinematalkraphy. There you'll find all the fun links and everything else on this little network of mine, including my gaming podcast, speaking of video games, Jump Point, where I talk to Bryce Castillo about a whole slew of gaming topics. So that is for today. So tune in next time when we comment on another awesome film.
Ba-ding! 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 Ba-ding!